All right, let's cut right to it. For the past year, the Milwaukee Bucks have felt wrong, like a supercar stuck in the city traffic. They had the talent, they had the names, but the engine just never seemed to roar the way it was supposed to. And then this offseason happened. The Bucks made one of the most head-scratching, surprising moves of the entire summer. They essentially jettisoned the Damian Lillard experiment and said goodbye to their longtime defensive anchor, Brook Lopez. In their place, they bring in Myles Turner from Indiana. And the immediate reaction from around the league, from fans, from analysts, was confusion. A downgrade. A panic move. A team that doesn't know what it's doing. People thought this was a massive mistake. But what if it isn't? What if this wasn't a desperate gamble, but the most logical, calculated, and necessary move Milwaukee has made in years? What if they didn't get worse, but actually fixed the fundamental flaw that was holding them back? Today, we're diving deep into the film, the stats, and the philosophy behind this roster shakeup. I'm going to show you why the new-look frontcourt of Giannis Antetokounmpo and Myles Turner could not only work, but could shock the entire NBA and vault the Bucks right back into the top tier of the Eastern Conference. Stick around because this is a take you haven't heard anywhere else. To understand why this move makes so much sense, you first have to understand why the old Bucks were fundamentally broken. On paper, it was a dream team. You had Giannis, a two-time MVP, and one of the most physically dominant forces the game has ever seen. You had Damian Lillard, a top 75 all-time player, a half-court assassin, and you had Brook Lopez, Splash Mountain, a premier rim-protecting, floor-spacing center. The problem wasn't the talent, it was the identity. The 2023-24 Milwaukee Bucks were a team fighting a philosophical civil war with itself every single night. Think about their core pieces. Giannis is a runaway freight train. His entire game is built on kinetic energy. He thrives in chaos, in the open court, turning a defensive rebound into a dunk in 3 dribbles. He is pure, unadulterated speed and force. Damian Lillard, on the other hand, is a master watchmaker. He's meticulous, deliberate. He wants to walk the ball up the court, survey the defense, and surgically dissect it with a high pick and roll. His game is about control, and Brook Lopez, he was the immovable object, a fantastic drop coverage defender who plants himself in the paint and dares you to challenge him, but the trade-off for that size and positioning is foot speed. In transition, he was often a trailer, a very, very late trailer. When they had Jrue Holiday, his elite, versatile defense could paper over these cracks. He was the glue. But once he was gone, the mismatch in styles became glaring. The Bucks were constantly playing at 2 different speeds. Giannis would grab a rebound and want to ignite the break, only to look up and see his point guard methodically walking the ball up, and his center still crossing the half-court line. It was a team built to play in 2 completely different ways, and as a result, they mastered neither. They were trying to be a grinded-out half-court team and a fast-break team at the same time, and it just doesn't work. GM John Horst and Doc Rivers looked at this beautiful but deeply dysfunctional machine, and they realized they had to pick a lane, and they chose speed. The numbers don't lie. Now, for those of you who think I'm just spinning a narrative, let's look at the cold, hard numbers from last season. Because they paint a picture that is, frankly, shocking. It's a statistical indictment of their entire system. Let's talk about transition offense. This is supposed to be Giannis's kingdom. The single most unstoppable transition player in the world plays for your team. You would expect the Bucks to be at or near the top of the league in every fast break category, right? Wrong. It was a disaster. Last season, the Bucks' transition frequency was only in the 25th percentile in the NBA. Let me translate that for you. 75% of the league, 3/4 of the entire NBA, tried to get out and run more often than the team with Giannis Antetokounmpo. That is coaching malpractice. It's a roster-building malpractice. But it gets worse. Not only did they not run, they were bad at it when they did. Their transition points were bad compared to the rest of the league, which ranked in the 22nd percentile, and their overall transition offensive rating was just 15th place. Think about what that means. The Bucks had the ultimate weapon for the fast break, and they kept it locked away. And on the rare occasions they did use it, it misfired. Why? Because the personnel didn't fit the philosophy. Lillard's deliberate pace slowed them down before they could even start, and by the time Lopez caught up to the play, the defense was already set. The system wasn't just flawed, it was actively sabotaging its best player's greatest strength. They were tethering an eagle to the ground. This wasn't a small issue to be fixed with a few tweaks. This was a foundational crisis. So, how do you fix a speed problem? You inject speed. You don't just get a faster center. You get a center who completely changes the geometry of your transition attack. And that is exactly what Myles Turner is. Let's be clear, Brook Lopez is a very good player. But Myles Turner is the perfect antidote to what ailed the Bucks. First, the obvious, he can run. Turner is one of the most mobile and athletic centers in the league. He's not going to be lagging behind the play. He can run the floor with Giannis. Now, let's paint a picture. Imagine the new Bucks fast break. Giannis grabs a defensive rebound. He turns and starts his 4-dribble journey to the other rim. Last year, Brook Lopez is just crossing the opposing free throw line as Giannis approaches the paint. The defense knows this. They can completely ignore the trailing big and load up, building a 5-man wall in front of Giannis. It's Giannis versus the world. Now picture it with Turner. Giannis grabs the rebound and pushes. Myles Turner is already sprinting down the wing, filling a lane. He's not a trailer, he's a threat. The defense now has a horrifying choice to make. Do you still send 2 or 3 guys to stop Giannis? If you do, he's kicking it out to Turner on the wing for an open 3, a shot Turner hits at a respectable clip. Do you stay home on Turner? Now you've left your rim protector on an island against the Greek Freak. Good luck with that. Suddenly, the Bucks' transition attack goes from one-dimensional and predictable to a dynamic 2-man game that puts defenses in a blender. And we haven't even talked about the defensive end. Turner has led the league in blocks per game twice. He's an elite rim protector, just like Lopez. But unlike Lopez, who was locked into a deep drop coverage, Turner has the mobility to switch onto smaller players, to hedge on screens, and recover. This gives Doc Rivers a defensive versatility he could only dream of last season. He's not sacrificing rim protection, but he's gaining immense speed and flexibility. Turner isn't just a personnel upgrade, he's a systemic overhaul in one player. This trade wasn't made in a vacuum, it's the centerpiece of a much larger strategic shift, something the front office and coaching staff have been telegraphing all summer, the official full-time unleashing of Point Giannis. For years, we've seen flashes of it, but now it's the plan. Giannis Antetokounmpo will be this team's primary initiator and ball handler. And if you're wondering where they got this crazy idea to pair a hyper-athletic, ball-handling forward with a floor-spacing shot-blocking center, they stole it. League and said, "We'll take that, thank you very much." They didn't just poach their center, they poached their entire philosophy. They saw how effective Tyrese Halliburton was in a high-paced system with Turner, and they realized they have an even more physically dominant version of that engine in Giannis. The new Bucks offense is going to be terrifying to prepare for. It will be built on grab-and-go possessions. Giannis gets the rebound, and he's the point guard. He's bringing the ball up the court with a full head of steam. Turner will be setting ball screens for him 30 feet from the basket. Runway to the rim, that's a dunk. Do you switch the screen? Now you have a small guard trying to stop Giannis. That's a dunk and a foul. Do you trap Giannis? He's a gifted passer and he'll hit Turner popping out for an open 3. This system creates advantages all over the floor. It puts relentless pressure on the rim. It generates open 3s, and most importantly, it leverages Giannis's unique skill set in a way the Bucks haven't done since their championship season. Now, let's be realistic. Is this a guaranteed ticket to the NBA Finals? Of course not. There will be growing pains. The half-court offense might struggle at times without a traditional point guard like Lillard to settle things down. But we're talking about the ceiling, and the ceiling for this team just got exponentially higher. If this clicks, if Giannis fully embraces the point forward role, and Turner integrates seamlessly, you are looking at arguably the most dominant and athletically overwhelming frontcourt in the entire NBA. They will be a two-way force of nature, a defensive juggernaut that can switch everything and protect the rim, and a transition offense that will feel like a jailbreak every single possession. In a stacked Eastern Conference with Boston, Philadelphia, and New York, I see the Bucks' floor as a 4th or 5th seed. But their upside, if this system hits its stride by mid-season, they have the potential to be a top 3 seed. They have a unique identity that makes them a matchup nightmare, especially in a 7-game series. How do you prepare for a team that plays at a track meet pace, led by a 7-foot point guard? For the first time in a long time, the Milwaukee Bucks feel like they have a cohesive plan. Every piece fits the same puzzle. They aren't a collection of talented individuals anymore. They are a team built with a singular, terrifying purpose: to run you off the floor. So when everyone was busy writing Milwaukee's obituary this summer, lamenting the end of the Dame experiment, they missed the real story. The Bucks didn't get worse. They got smarter. They stopped trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, and finally decided to rebuild the entire machine around the generational talent of their superstar. They looked at their biggest weakness, a slow, predictable offense, and made a bold move to turn it into their greatest weapon. And a fully unleashed Giannis Antetokounmpo leading the break with a shot-blocking, floor-spacing unicorn by his side isn't just a problem for the Eastern Conference, it's a league-wide code red. What do you guys think? Am I overrating this new duo? Or are the Bucks officially back as a top-tier contender? Drop your realistic seeding for them in the comments below. I want to hear your takes. As always, if you enjoyed the breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dive NBA analysis all season long. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.